Hello everyone, in this video I am going to tell Bhagavad Gita shloka number 14.27, the last shloka of Bhagavad Gita chapter 14, the three modes of material nature. In the previous shloka, Lord Krishna said that one who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and comes to the level of Brahman. Let us begin with this shloka. ब्रह्मणो हि प्रतिष्ठाहम् अमृतस्य च शाश्वतस्य च धर्मस्य सुखस्यैकान्तिकस्य च. The meaning: Brahmana, of the impersonal Brahma Jyoti, he certainly, Pratishtha, the rest, Aham, I am, Amritasya, of the immortal, Avyayasya, of the imperishable, Cha, also, Shashvatasya, of the eternal, Cha, and Dharmasya, of the constitutional position, Sukhasya, of happiness, Aikantikasya, ultimate, Cha, also. The whole meaning is, and I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, eternal, and is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness. Srila Prabhupada explains, the constitution of Brahman is immortality, imperishability, eternity, and happiness. Brahman is the beginning of transcendental realization. Paramatma, the super soul, is the middle, the second stage in transcendental realization, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate realization of the Absolute Truth. Therefore, both Paramatma and the impersonal Brahman are within the Supreme Person. It is explained in the 7th chapter that material nature is the manifestation of the inferior energy of the Supreme Lord. The Lord impregnates the inferior material nature with fragments of the superior nature, and that is the spiritual touch in the material nature. When a living entity conditioned by this material world begins the cultivation of spiritual knowledge, he elevates himself from the position of material existence and gradually rises up to the Brahman conception of the Supreme. This attainment of the Brahman conception of life is the first stage in self realization. At this stage, the Brahman realized person is transcendental to the material position, but he is not actually perfect in Brahman realization. If he wants, he can continue to stay in the Brahman position and then gradually rise up to Paramatma realization and then the realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are many examples of this in Vedic literature. The four Kumaras were first situated in the impersonal Brahman conception of the truth, but then they gradually rose to the platform of devotional service. One who cannot elevate himself beyond the impersonal conception of Brahman runs the risk of falling down. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that although a person may rise to the stage of impersonal Brahman without going further, with no information of the Supreme Person, his intelligence is not perfectly clear. Therefore, in spite of being raised to the Brahman platform, there is the chance of falling down if one is not engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. In Vedic language, it is also said, Raso Vaisaha Rasam Hyevayam Labdvanandi Bhavati. When one understands the personality of Godhead, the reservoir of pleasure, Krishna, he actually becomes transcendently blissful. From the Taittiriya Upanishad 2.7.1. The Supreme Lord is full in six opulences, and when a devotee approaches him, there is an exchange of these six opulences. The servant of the king enjoys almost on an equal level with the king, and so eternal happiness, imperishable happiness, and eternal life accompany devotional service. Therefore, the realization of Brahman or eternity or imperishability is included in devotional service. This is already possessed by a person who is engaged in devotional service. The living entity, although Brahman by nature, has a desire to lord it over the material world, and due to this he falls down. In his constitutional position, a living entity is above the three modes of material nature, but association with the material nature entangles him in the different modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance. Due to the association of these three modes, his desire to dominate the material world is there. By engagement in devotional service in full Krishna consciousness, he is immediately situated in the transcendental position, and his unlawful desire to control material nature is removed. Therefore, the process of devotional service, beginning with hearing, chanting, remembering, the prescribed 9 methods for realizing devotional service, should be practiced in the association of devotees. Gradually, by such association, by the influence of the spiritual master, one's material desire to dominate is removed, and one becomes firmly situated in the Lord's transcendental loving service. This method is prescribed from the 22nd to the last verse of this chapter. Devotional service to the Lord is very simple. One should always engage in the service of the Lord, should eat the remnants of foodstuffs offered to the deity, smell the flowers offered to the lotus feet of the Lord, see the places where the Lord had had his transcendental pastimes, read of the different activities of the Lord, his reciprocation of love with the devotees, chant Hare, chant the always the transcendental vibration Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, and observe the fasting days commemorating the appearances and disappearances of the Lord and his devotees. By following such a process, one becomes completely detached from all material activities. One who can thus situate himself in the Brahma Jyoti or the different varieties of Brahman conception is equal to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in quality. Thus, in the Bhaktivedanta purports to the 14th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, in the matter of the three modes of material nature. Thank you for watching, and I will begin the next chapter, chapter 15, the Yoga of the Supreme Person, in the next video.